for a moment the best Pueblo that you can envision. What would it look like? What would employers seek to move here, and what would our kids say about living here? Imagine for a moment that every person in Pueblo felt as if someone had his or her back. How could we accomplish that? What would we strengthen and what would we make better? Can we make Pueblo better together? Can we do it smarter? Can we figure out what is working and what is not working? These are some of the questions that sparked the idea of One Community Pueblo. But why would a group of folks come together in Pueblo to grapple with developing a common vision for community change? Poverty. We hear this word a lot, but what does it really mean? Poverty is defined as a family of four earning less than $22,050 a year. The fact is, poverty is the largest obstacle to opportunity for children. Growing up in poverty decreases the chance for lifelong success. So where does Pueblo stand? The overall poverty rate in Pueblo is 20.4%, the second highest in the state. The child poverty rate in Pueblo hovers between 21 and 31%, and over 50% of Pueblo youth qualify for free and reduced lunch. Poverty itself raises the likelihood of too early pregnancies, low educational attainment, and a host of other issues, including gang involvement and truancy. So let's explore a couple of these issues a little deeper. Teen pregnancy. It's a complex sociological issue, and it's an indicator of many things. That youth don't feel connected to their community, that there's a lack of achievable economic opportunity, that youth don't have confidence to develop dreams and goals, and they don't have the support to make their dreams and goals come true. We have to make sure that teens have other opportunities for their future, real incentives for them to wait to become parents. When you think of poverty, you can also think of high rates of kids that do not complete high school. Research shows that if a child fails a class in 8th or 9th grade, they are more likely to drop out. What if we made sure that no child fails in this grade? Could we make a shift? 3rd grade achievement is another indicator of success for kids. What if the question was less about standardized testing and more about mentoring and assisting kids to succeed?
So again, you ask yourself, what does this all mean? What's the best Pueblo? It's already a great community with remarkable people, but we can make it better together. We envision a Pueblo where children, youth, and adults are supported in making healthy choices for their lives, where every parent has the support and necessary tools to be nurturing parents, where healthy food is accessible and exercise is valued, where education is the most valuable commodity, where kids have what they need from the moment they come into this world through their launch into a career. Imagine the impact of a whole generation with that kind of support. We envision a Pueblo where there are pathways to economic self-sufficiency, jobs that pay living wages and provide career opportunities, kids that will choose to stay in our community and enrich the community, employers that want to come here because of the educational attainment and the community reputation. We envision the long-term commitment of Pueblo, people in Pueblo, to be involved and to care about every aspect of living, working, and raising a family here in Pueblo. We think of it as civic muscle, that each of us shares the responsibility to have the back of everyone else. We make choices that change the shape of the future of our community, realizing that not all the choices will be easy, but we think we can be smarter about our interventions, smarter about how we share information, and evaluate what works. We think we have enough to do this amazing work. However, we must think of our resources differently than we have in the past, so that all children and youth in Pueblo have the opportunities necessary to flourish and grow from cradle to career. But that vision also includes a community where every person feels safe and connected, like the visionaries who saw an empty field littered with railroad ties and imagined instead the heart of Pueblo becoming a thriving riverwalk. One Community Pueblo is a commitment to the heart of Pueblo in the same visionary way. Not an external destination, but one that will change the trajectories of each and every child and positively impact all families.
So we believe that if we can commit to this vision, we can make Pueblo better together, utilizing collective impact strategies as the best way for us to be successful and make the changes we want and need for kids and families to thrive. We believe in diversity as part of the inclusion of this vision. We believe in the principles of youth development as being the catalyst to a better future for all youth in Pueblo. If you think of a pebble thrown in a pond in which the ripple effect will have a lasting impact for generations to come. Part of creating this vision is to build a better way of working together. And the way we work together becomes the fabric that binds our community. We build common visions, we share outcomes and data, we create a set of measures that help us learn along the way. We listen to children and youth and facilitate dreams. We value our diversity. We work together to make economic development a reality and understand that leadership for achieving the vision is shared among and between the collective whole, nonprofits, government, and private sectors. Envisioning a better future and working together to realize it is just simply the way we live and do business.
So, envisioning a better Pueblo is the easy part. It's the first step in making Pueblo better together. But how do we make this vision a reality? Fortunately, we're not the only communities creating collective impact strategies. Cradle-to-career approaches are happening around the country, and we can look to some of the other initiatives as we begin to create ours. We know there are elements of collective impact that are vital and necessary components. One of the first steps is creating a shared vision for change, which includes a common understanding of the problems and a joint approach to solving the problems through agreed-upon actions. It's vital to agree on the ways in which activities are measured and reported. We're developing a dashboard currently where measurements and outcomes can be shared with each other, all nonprofits, and the community as a whole. It's never been more important to understand what works and what doesn't, so we can make course corrections and use our resources wisely. We need to create alignment of our activities so they become mutually reinforcing. Collective impact strategies that have been studied suggest that when a community finds a way to integrate its work from all agencies and sectors into the common vision and outcomes, the impact is greater. There are other elements of collective impact that help build the success of these long-term change strategies. Continuous communication, meetings, and lots of them. This is about developing trust between all concerned, including nonprofits, corporations, government agencies. It takes time. Becoming digital natives, utilizing tools that make communication easier and more inclusive. Tools including wikis and dashboards, Google Docs and Prezi, and creating a common vocabulary. The backbone is the infrastructure and coordination piece of this work. Different communities are doing things differently. In Denver, for example, the Office of Strategic Partnerships is helping to keep its youth agenda on target. And in Massachusetts, a new nonprofit is working to coordinate their efforts. The expectation that collective impact strategies will work without a supporting infrastructure is one of the most frequent reasons they fail. By utilizing all 5 of these elements, we can begin working together to make Pueblo better.
So why does this all matter? Because to create a better Pueblo, to create real social change, it will take a different model of doing business and measuring our success. A model in which funders, nonprofits, government officials, civic leaders, and business executives all work together. Researchers of collective impact strategies stress that collective impact would be a stress to shock to the system, but that it's a form of shock therapy that is badly needed. If we start now to create a common agenda, to share data, to use mutually reinforcing activities, to communicate continuously, and to build an infrastructure, and we make good use of government partners and programs, we build effective alignment among and between nonprofit partners in the business sector, we talk to individuals that may reach more than one person, where will we be in 25 years? Our vision for a better Pueblo, where generations of children, youth, and families flourish and grow strong, will become our reality. Come join us and become a part of One Community Pueblo. Thank you. So I think we're out of time, right? Are we out of
Well,
time?
if anyone has any questions, go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
We started a little bit late, so I want to make sure you guys have your time too, so.
So how do you join you? How do you go about actually joining if you, I mean, it's a great presentation, so how do you go about it?
We have a steering committee that's in, it's kind of early stages right now. Randy Evitz, who is the chair, he is the director of the Safe Schools, Healthy Students Initiative in Pueblo City Schools. He would be your contact, and we can get you his contact information if this is something that you would like to be a part of. The steering committee,
We meet on Fridays,
we meet once a month on Fridays.
and I believe our next one's April 27th.
Yes.
If you're interested, I would certainly encourage you to come to that meeting. Get involved that way.
I mean, this-
We're in the infancy stages, so, yeah.
And part of the collective initiative strategy is to build that backbone support. So eventually the steering committee, once that is created or built or someone offers to take that on, that will shift towards them and then they will become the doers. And that's kind of a big piece, and that's a part of the piece that we're working on right now, is to see if there's an agency, the university, someone in Pueblo that could actually take on the full collective impact strategy.
Wasn't this essentially the concept of United Way at one time?
You know, collective impact, I think it goes a step farther. So, and what's really interesting, when I was listening to you guys talk about some of the things that you do, the way that I look at collective impact, it's like partnerships on steroids. You guys are doing a little bit of that right now because you're giving back $1 to the 4-H group if they sell your tickets. You're giving dictionaries out. So, I mean, I think that's part of it. And as far as the United Way goes, I know that they do a lot of funding and support a lot of nonprofits, but it's hooking up
Right.
all of those
Right.
bits.
And so nonprofits would come together and work on what they do best, as opposed to competing for different dollars in different ways,
That's a good point.
for basically the same problem.
Good point.
Yeah, and pulling in the private sector too. So I know you guys are all business people. I'm not sure where everyone works, if it's a nonprofit or if it's private business, but seeing how we can include those private business people too, to understand some of this and work on some of those issues.
Is there a timetable for getting this put together?
We don't really have an end point. Right now, our major goals are working on the dashboard. Because with that dashboard, we hope to create where other nonprofits can come and utilize the information that's in there, the statistics, the data that's in there, and take that and get their grants for what they're good at. Teen pregnancy, she can go in there and get the statistics she needs. And of course, there are other major areas where she gets her statistics. But currently, we're working with CSU Pueblo to create that dashboard, and we're hoping that it's, I forgot what it's called. Something law enforcement uses, where they collect all of their data in one place, and then people can go and grab that data out. But then they can also ask the people that are working on that data and collecting the data, how does this apply? Well, what would happen if this, and so there's people that can actually analyze the data.
And really looking at what programs are having an impact and what programs are not, which is the tricky part, right? Because, we're all funded to do something. And it will change the way that looks a little bit. So if we know, all right, so the Pueblo City County Health Department's doing something, we're not seeing the results. How can we work with other agencies? How can we get them to support what we're doing, have that common vision, and really look at what the data and the outcomes are indicating? And for you guys too, if there's a project that you wanted to work on, you could go to that dashboard and you could see, all right, so what are some of those things in Pueblo that we can help support? What is the research showing? What is the data showing? And that can help drive groups like the Rotary to do, you know, some of their service learning and the other types of things that you guys do. I'm looking for the word, but now I can't. Community service, there we go, yeah.
As far as something like this, as far as the funding and everything, is it similar to like kind of the welfare system to supply money for those kids to where they can have those supplies, or?
Well, so basically, we're not, so our committee is not the doers, but we're all from agencies that are the doers. As far as funding, we're not trying to be a nonprofit and collect funding. So we're just trying to build a collective impact to figure out what's the problem and what's the best way to solve this problem, and then each agency still utilizing their own resources.
This is reminding me of, I was in large San Antonio, Houston communities, and they had advocacy centers. And this is like 10 or 15, actually 20 years ago, where all the entities were finally coming together rather than being compartmentalized and out there and not even knowing what one another did. They were actually, in some senses, coming together under the same roof. So, like a child advocacy center, a kid can access, if a kid is assaulted or harmed in some way, has an entire community of services all available under one roof. It's less stressful for the families. Is this like a cyber community kind of concept,
Right,
similar to that?
There's no wrong door. So yeah, essentially,
It's a way for everybody to work together. You're not planning on being under the same roof necessarily, but okay, I think this is good.
yeah, so we just don't want anybody to say, no, that's not, you know, we want to be an open door and, yeah, well, I can't help you, but let me contact and.
So everybody knows what everybody else is doing and has direct access.
And having that common vision piece, so we're all on the same path.
If anyone else has any questions, I'm sure Christy and Christy would love to hang out for a little bit, but
Yeah, we can.
but thank you guys very much again. We appreciate it. And a little love for the both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, Brett, why don't you go ahead and lead us in the four-way test?
Is it the truth? Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Will it be beneficial